You are now tuned in to the Middle Initial Podcast, bitch. Now everybody pod nowadays, but it pays when you listen to Drew, Kevin, Case, and in case you missed it, get your spirits lifted. Man, New York's getting covered just to be specific. When the beast will kick it, you get back. Yeah, listen one time, I promise you come back. No, we switching up a topic, you know that we come pack. And I don't wanna say it, but bitch, we want blacks. In fact, we need that. Cause ain't nobody talk like the boys. It don't matter who you like or employ. We've been the best for a minute. Big brains could've went to MIT, but we like talking shit. Here's the MIP.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Andrew L. Case. You're now tuned into the Middle Initial Podcast. Today is October 8th, 2024. My phone's going off like crazy about the news that happened at 10:08 a.m. The New York Jets gave notice to head coach Robert Saleh that your services are no longer required. Your services will no longer be required here at MetLife Stadium. Unbelievable. This happened at 10:08 a.m. That's when I got the notification from Dan via Adam Schefter that the New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh. I wasn't home, so I couldn't react right away. I definitely was out there in these tweets, in these Twitter streets, reacting to the news that Robert Saleh was fired. A lot of people have called for the firing of Robert Saleh, so this shouldn't come as a surprise. But it kind of does come as a surprise because the Jets fired Robert Saleh mid-season. It hasn't happened. What up, JJ? It hasn't happened at all in my lifetime. A head coach being fired midseason. I lived through Rich Kotite, the 1-15 season. But the Jets did fire head coach Robert Saleh today, and the orders, his marching orders, came from Woody Johnson, and that, take it how you want. If you feel like you'd be surprised by that situation, that Woody Johnson was the one to pull the trigger, but something this knee-jerk, reactionary, especially a week before, less than a week, 6 days before they're about to face the Bills on Monday Night Football for a chance at a tie to the division, it's a surprising move for a lot of people. I've been to the stadium like 2 weeks in a row, past 2 weeks, and then actually last Sunday, so everybody came out to the our brunch, brunch at Diamante's, which was a very fun event. If you missed it, I'm sorry you missed it. We'll have some more events coming up soon. But there's always been whispers, especially at the Denver game, especially after this game, that Saleh shouldn't be the head coach, or at least Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett shouldn't be the offensive coordinator for New York Jets. In my personal opinion, this is speaking for me, and on my behalf, I'm not speaking for Kevin, I'm speaking for Jude. In my opinion, I feel like Saleh should have been able to finish this season. Personally, I did feel that he isn't the type of coach that you want to stick around. In the interim, when he came in, it was a lot about culture changing, right? It was a lot about bringing a new culture, new vibe. He was running the steps. He looked the part. He spoke the part. He came from a team in San Francisco who had just recently went to a Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs, right? So Saleh had all the acumen. He had all the right stuff. He had the look. He had the jawline, everything that people love. All the intangible BS that people seem to enjoy. He said the right things, but it almost felt like Saleh was too diplomatic. He was too sensitive, like especially when we discuss Hard Knocks, right? Let's discuss the Hard Knock thing, where he didn't want people to get film being cut, right? It's a part of the business, the nature of the business for players to get cut from a team. And it felt like Saleh wanted to hide people from that, even though it's something that we were aware of. We're all aware about cuts and how they happen. Your favorite player gets cut. Your fan favorite gets cut. And he felt like he wanted to shield players from that. He also, the sentiment about culture changing, it felt good at first, but we didn't know what kind of culture he was bringing to the table. We knew what he was bringing to the table as far as his resume is concerned, but the culture stuff, which culture is something that for me, again, this is my opinion, that you build over time, right? You can't dictate culture day one, right? You could put some changes in, you could implicate some stuff for players and coaches maybe never seen before, but it's still something that comes over time, and it comes with winning, because you can also build loser culture as well, right? You could build a culture of losers, right? And we talk about the Cleveland Browns, like, historic losing teams, the Detroit Lions, and we see what Dan Campbell was able to do with Detroit, right, and turning that whole franchise around. It was a joke with the kneecap biting. We're going to tackle in the fight, but he did turn that team around with that never give up attitude, and you see it translate on the field. So I'll give Saleh credit for the culture of for the defense, right? He brought back defense to MetLife Stadium, because Todd Bowles clearly couldn't do defense. Of course, Gase completely. Team was awash with Gase. I mean, Bowles had I think Bowles had a decent first year, the 10-6 year, and it kind of fell off. But of course, with Gase, everything was like wheels were falling off with Gase coming in, right? Which were terrible years. Yeah, we're gonna get into all of that. We're gonna get into your comments about everything that has been going on with the New York Jets and this culture thing and the Robert Saleh conversation. But he brought that, the all gas no brake, the bravado, the running the stairs, and it just felt good, but it was not to be seen on offense. Now, in my opinion, and from what I know, Zach Wilson wasn't his fault. And I'll say this: Saleh didn't want Zach Wilson. And I don't think Saleh wanted to continue he was willing to work the situation, but I don't think the relationship kind of soured. And we'll go into this comment right here from All Gas No Break. Shout out to All Gas No Break podcast. I also think back to when Zach Wilson played like a dog, like Dog Dookie in New England a couple of years ago, and blamed the wind, and Saleh blaming the rain after the Broncos game a couple of weeks ago. It's the shielding. It's that, you're a head coach. You're the ambassador of the brand. You're an ambassador of the brand. This is a Jets tank top, by the way. You're an ambassador of the brand. You run your ship. Your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, your running backs coach, your wide receiver coach, your defensive back coach, your defensive line coach. There's like 20-some coaches on the team. They all report to you. And your sentiment is always protecting. And the conversation about accountability comes into play. And it seems like there's a lack of accountability in that building. Now, and I don't want to veer too far off, because we still got to go back to my original thought on Saleh in general. But that was the feeling that you had with Saleh as head coach, that he has good things in mind. He means well, but it doesn't translate, at the very least, towards the offense, right? But in spite of all of that, in spite of the O-line issues, in spite of the Zach Wilson issues, Saleh had back-to-back seasons where the Jets squeezed out 7 wins. He managed to squeeze out 7 wins in spite of that. Could he have squeezed out more if they had a backup quarterback and they made it work? Absolutely. Again, I don't blame that aspect completely 100% on Coach Saleh. I believe Joe Douglas is escaping blame. Joe Douglas escapes a lot of blame for not having a veteran backup last year for Rodgers. He escapes a lot of blame. But also, I did feel like they just were acquiescing to Rodgers, like bringing in Boyle, bringing in Lazard, what we get into, bringing in Billy Turnstile, or Billy Turner, I want to call him, bringing in Randall Cobb, like bringing guys in bringing in Hackett. We'll get into that too, which it all felt like they did it to make Rodgers happy. And of course, future Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, opportunity to take your team, kind of a Super Bowl roster to the next level. You want to make Rodgers happy. Unfortunately, last year doesn't happen. The experiment is done. 4 plays in. We're back to Zach Wilson. Now all eyes are on the front office for not getting a veteran, not bringing in a veteran mid-season, and pretty much squandering an opportunity to at least be a playoff team and make yourself more attractive to free agents or whatever the case may be. The season comes this year, off season comes this year. We do a lot of team move, free agency, bargain bin hunting. You get Tyron, you give him on the incentive loaded deal. You bring on Morgan Moses, you bring on Simpson, you get Mike Williams. You let go a couple of guys that we felt as fans should be here. I'm not gonna say it's organization. I don't speak for the organization. I speak as a fan. I don't speak for the fans. I speak as a fan, and I speak for the podcast in certain regards. But in this regard, being just me, I'm speaking for myself. You do all of these things this off season, and the first thing that clearly sticks out for me was the fact that Joe Douglas made this Reddick move and it didn't come to fruition. Again, a lot of the blame feels like, or felt like at the very least, it should fall on Joe Douglas's shoulders. But again, you're the head coach. You're the ambassador. It's your job to steer the ship, regardless of the weather. It can't always be sunny, 80 degrees, and it's perfect. When we did our home opener, our 4th anniversary podcast tailgate for the Pats game, Thursday night football, it was beautiful. The weather was immaculate. The vibes were immaculate. And it just came out and had like 27 first downs, 400 yards of offense, and they easily dismantled the Patriots. Do you want that weather, that vibe every single week? Absolutely. We know what happened the following week. Well, 10 days later, I should say. You got rain. You got the Broncos. You got a rookie quarterback who didn't throw a touchdown pass. You got a defense that's good, but it's not, a fear-inducing defense in the Denver Broncos. But you had a winnable game. And you lost. And you lost with about 1:04 left and Aaron Rodgers. And the magic of Aaron Rodgers to drive us down the field and get us in field goal range to win the game. We end up kicking Greg Zuerlein kicking a 50-yarder to win with like 40-something seconds left. It didn't feel magical. We lost, right? But as head coach, you navigate the storm. It can't always be sunny outside. It can't always be the perfect vibe. There were empty seats. There was no flashing wristbands. There was none of the fanfare. When all the smoke and mirrors and the fireworks is gone and you have to continuously play week by week, or in this case, 10 days later with prep, and that's the best you could come up with, people start to question the leadership. The false starts, the legal shifts, and all that stuff. They start questioning at least at the very least, discipline. How do you correct the actions of grown men who aren't following this game plan to a T? You're the head coach. You are the figurehead. You are the face, regardless of the situation, because other teams have found a way to do it. Other teams, good teams, great teams, find a way. The problem with Robert Saleh and the New York Jets is that they don't find a way. They don't navigate the storm, right? And when they do navigate, when you do navigate and execute, you get a good game versus the Chiefs. You beat the undefeated Eagles. You have those moments. You beat the Bills. You have those moments where it looks like the team gets it. And then you have those moments where it looks like the team is lost. And the lost moments come more than the moments of getting it right. Because, of course, if we got it more right than we got it wrong, the Jets are a 10-win team, a 9-win team, maybe 11-win team for the back-to-back seasons, but we're not, regardless of who's at quarterback. So, yes, does a lot of the blame, and this is, again, my personal opinion, fall at the feet of Joe Douglas? 110%. 110%. But this is also the roster you were given with the talent that you have. And figure it out. The Chiefs figured it out. Oh, but it's Andy Reid. He's a brilliant offensive mind. He's also down three of his best players on offense. He also no longer employs Tyreek Hill. Rashee Rice is out. Pacheco is out. Juju Smith-Schuster had 7 catches for 130 yards last night. Good teams find a way, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers, all defense. They took on Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and they lost to Dallas on a last minute play. For all intents and purposes, the Steelers could be 4-1. Good teams find a way. And sometimes it's just not your luck. Like, look at the Bengals. The Bengals for the past 3 weeks have been phenomenal. They're still 1-4, but the offense has been amazing. Jamar Chase was amazing against Baltimore. But at least you could look at the Bengals and say, well, this is what's wrong. It's not the head coach. It could be the defense. Sometimes things don't go your way. But the Jets are in this perfect storm of, if we showed up against the Chargers and the Raiders last year, we're a 9-win team. We don't show up. That's coaching. You go against Denver, a game where Bo Nix has 70 yards passing. The defense is his job. Offense, and we're going to get into the Hackett stuff. We're going to get into the Hackett stuff. And I'm not trying to absolve Hackett either. I'm just saying, in this regard, with Robert Saleh, as much as we'd like to make excuses for what's been going on and absolve Saleh for what's been going on, the things that Saleh has done wrong, in my opinion, and I suggested this some years ago, I felt like Saleh rubbed players the wrong way. That's one. Two, I felt like he was not good at the podium. He couldn't keep his story straight for anything. He was so bad at the podium. The lies kept piling up. He was terrible at the podium. 3, accountability and discipline for what happens on the offensive side of the ball was always spread out. And 4, there were no solutions. I thought Nathaniel Hackett was supposed to be relieved of his coaching duties and demoted and doing less. I see him on the sidelines with his clipboard. I thought Saleh was going to be more involved in running the offense. He reneged on that. There's a lot that Saleh says that he doesn't do. And there's a lot that Saleh puts on himself and stands in front of players and stands in front of coaches and falls on the sword. No, you don't have to do that. Sure, you can do that in front of the camera, in front of us at the podium, but behind the scenes, you don't have to do that. You chose to do this. You chose to fall on your sword. You chose to take the slings and the arrows from the media, from whoever. And behind the scenes, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe the players know and love you better than we know. Maybe they don't. I don't know. The reports are always different. But what we do know is, from what we've seen, you've taken a lot of the slings and arrows you didn't have to take in the sake of other people saving face. And it started with Hard Knocks. It started with you saying, we don't want people on camera getting cut. It started with Zach Wilson. All the stuff that you holding someone accountable, like waiting for Zach Wilson to have a shitty post-game conference, and waiting for him to say the wrong things. All the things that you did wrong, it's an accumulation of where we're at today. You may not be the reason why the Jets are bad. Maybe you are. You may not be the sole reason why things are going the way they're going. Maybe you are. But what we know as fans of this game, and what we know from what the media has been telling us, and what we know from out of your mouth and what you've said and your philosophy, you are willing to stand in front of the bullet for everybody. Even when it's not your fault, even if it was not necessary. And that's the reason why we're here today. Let's get into Hackett. Some people feel like Hackett should be fired. You wouldn't be wrong. You would not be wrong if you feel like Hackett deserves to be fired. When Rodgers went down, this is not hearsay. When Rodgers went down, the only reports we've heard about Hackett was he locked himself in his office and decided not to do anything. This is the same Hackett who said, I didn't know that Breece Hall could catch the ball like that. Hackett is like Rodgers' homie, his weed man, his ayahuasca distributor, whatever he is, but he's not an offensive coordinator. We know that based off of last year. We know that. Through 5 games this year, the Jets have put up the same amount of points that they did through 5 games last year, 93 points. The offense, the running game is worse this year than last year. And this is, now let's keep in mind, last year's the patchwork offensive line, right? This is Becton at right tackle. This is no AVT. This is I forgot his name. I think Tomlinson or at left guard. This is a patchwork O-line through 5 games last year. Has more rushing yards than this revamped, allegedly healthy offensive line this year, with the addition of Braylon Allen to complement Breece Hall. We have less rushing yards than last year. This is the offense with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. With Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Putting up the same amount of points as the offense through 5 games as last year without Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. The only thing in common in both scenarios is Nathaniel Hackett is offensive coordinator. Sure, Saleh's the head coach, but the main factor in both situations is Nathaniel Hackett is offensive coordinator. We don't know what he does. He could be Tommy from Martin, for all I know. He could be Tommy from Martin. You ain't got no job, man. You ain't got no job, bro. We don't know what you do. We've been wondering for a long time, what do you do? It's not offensive coordinator. That's for damn sure. You're not offensive coordinator. It's the offense looks terrible. It looks one-dimensional, and it's glaringly obvious. You don't put in Braylon Allen last against Denver at the 1-yard line. You run Breece Hall twice. You don't score. People complain. Social media, play Braylon Allen. Give him the ball. Give Braylon Allen the ball. The most glaringly obvious situation, 3rd and 2, Braylon Allen's in the game. I wonder what the Jets are going to do. Go run the ball. Duh. Because he didn't do it last week. Then everybody critiqued you for not doing it. And then the following week, what do? Let's put in Braylon Allen on 3rd and short. Anybody can see this coming. A blind man with a blind seeing eye dog can see it coming. 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, however it went, you run into him again. Now, it did appear like the tight end in motion missed the block. But again, glaringly obvious that you're putting in the 6'3" running back on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2, and you're going to run the ball. Wink, wink. We all seen the shit coming. That's how bad of an offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett is. We all know it's obvious. Not a play action, not a bootleg, not a rollout, nothing. It's run up the middle. It's obvious. Nathaniel Hackett is terrible at the job he is paid to do, which is be offensive coordinator, which it's hard to understand. You have 10 days off, guys. 10 days off between beating the Patriots, playing the Broncos, and you managed to put up 9 points with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Yes, it's raining, but you guys couldn't even run the ball. You couldn't run the ball, which felt like the obvious play in the rain. But Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 30+ times again. And also, keep in mind, I asked my co-host Kevin Lewis, how often do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball? Well, I don't think he throws the ball that often. With the offensive line, the run blockers they get, drafting Allen, having 3 running backs or 4 running backs on the team right now, it felt glaringly obvious that the New York Jets were going to run the ball a lot. Aaron Rodgers, in how many straight games, has decided to pass the ball 30+ plus times. Hold on one moment. Somebody's at my door. We back. What the hell? We back. Sorry. Lost my damn train of thought. But yes, Nathaniel Hackett, poor coach, poor coaching, cannot coach, horrible at his job, can't do his job. Aaron Rodgers throwing 30 plus times a game. 30 plus times a game. He was not here to throw the ball that many times a game. Not at 40 years old, not at coming off of an Achilles injury. And if you want to know this, if you want to dive deep into those games, Jets Titans, Aaron Rodgers throws 30 times, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Jets did run better. There was a good game running the ball that game. Brees Hall had 60 yards on 14 carries. Allen has 33 yards on 7 carries. As a team, they rushed for 101 yards and a touchdown. Against the Pats, this is the best offensive game the Jets had so far this season. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 35 times against the Pats. Again, the Jets ran good this game. Braylon Allen, 11 carries for 55 yards. Brees Hall, 16 carries for 54 yards, less per carry. As a team, they rushed for 133 yards, including Aaron Rodgers rushing for three times for 18 yards. Here's the ugly. Against the Broncos, Aaron Rodgers threw 42 times. With all considering the weather was terrible. I was at this game. I was at the Thursday night game. 42 times. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Got sacked 5 times. The Jets ran the ball 23 times for 64 yards. As a team, Brees Hall had 10 carries for 4 yards. Terrible. Terrible on offense. And it gets worse. Jets-Vikings. This is the game we just witnessed. 54 passing attempts from Aaron Rodgers. 54 passing attempts from Aaron Rodgers. You cannot tell me that throwing the ball 54 times is a part of the plan. What is his job? What is Hackett's job? Offensive coordinator. Has he coordinated any type of offense for the New York Jets in the first 5 games of this season, outside of the Patriots game, and the first 5 games of last season, which I think the Jets game last season was their best season. The best games were, I think it was that Chiefs game. Hackett is a part of the problem, if not the problem. But let's go back to Saleh. Why is Hackett still here and why is Saleh not? Some people suggest they both should be gone. I disagree. And here's why I disagree. If Robert Saleh sticks to his word, if Robert Saleh is a disciplinarian, holds people accountable, Robert Saleh still has a job because Hackett is no longer calling plays. And Rodgers and Saleh are on the same wavelength. We're about winning. Your preference at this point It doesn't matter. I know it's your homie. He's still going to be, he can roll your blunts and whatever the hell Hackett does for you. He could do that. But he's not calling plays no more. That's this bottom line. That's Saleh has to sit there and draw that line and say, hey, forget the friendship shit. Saleh had to fire his best friend. Are we forgetting that he had to get rid of MLF, Mike LaFleur? Saleh had to put his best friend out to pasture, who's now the game coordinator in the Rams. So it's not like Saleh can't fire or get rid of somebody, or at least, at the very least, change responsibilities. Because LaFleur was upstairs, and then Zach Wilson has quarterback coach. All that nonsense we had to deal with for the first years of Zach Wilson, and that Saleh agreed to. So we've seen it, and we've seen Mike LaFleur become a scapegoat and get him out of the building. That was his homie, his bestie. You mean Saleh can't sit down and tell Rodgers, hey, man, I know what I'm about to say is going to be difficult because I had the unfortunate responsibility of letting go one of my friends who I was like the best man at the wedding and stuff like that. I've been there, bro, but Hackett can't hack it. No pun intended. He can't cut it as offensive coordinator. Robert Saleh, you have to draw that line because you had to already. It's not brand new territory. You just had to get rid of your homie. You had to get rid of your homie. It's not brand new territory. You did it already. That's the accountability. You have to sit there and say, heck, you can't be here. Or if you're here, because you can't fire him because optics and best friend, I literally have to take play calling from you. You can't have that responsibility. Listen, you could be here. You could run down and grab his Philly blunts. You could go down to the local food grocer or whatever and get wherever you get your ayahuasca from. I don't know where you get that from. Whatever shaman you got to go get your ayahuasca from for Aaron Rodgers. Whatever you do. Darkness retreats, trips to Egypt. I don't care. Whatever you have to do, you're going to do this because I'm the coach and you need to follow my lead. And I need to take over this offense completely. He doesn't do that. Talks about it. It comes up. He gets demoted. Doesn't seem like it, but whatever. He is, he isn't, whatever case. But did you feel like Hackett was demoted? Did you feel like Hackett wasn't calling plays? Do you feel like Hackett wasn't involved in the offense? No, because everybody's complaining that Hackett needs to go today. Everybody's saying that Hackett should be fired next. He's still here. And Saleh's not. That says a lot. It says a whole lot. So if we're talking about why Saleh's gone, yeah, bro, draw that line. Draw that line, bro. You had to already. You've done it already. Your friend is no longer coaching. He's the guy you brought in. Remember, I brought in Mike LaFleur. I brought in Ulbrich. We're the three rookie coaches at this. I'm the rookie head coach, the rookie offensive coordinator, the rookie defensive coordinator, the culture changing, all the conversation, the podium talk, rubbing players wrong, whatever the hell you thought you guys were doing. You had to let go of MLF, didn't you? So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be hard to let go somebody you have no fucking ties with. I wouldn't be sure it's so hard. You have no problem telling someone, hey, man, you're not cutting it. Sit down. That should be secondary. It should be, no, bro, you're not doing good. You're not doing good. You're not doing good. Go sit down. Someone else take over. It didn't happen. Again, sounded good about Hackett getting demoted. Sounded good about him being more involved in the offense. Didn't happen, though. Same 93 points as last season. Worse rushing on offense this season compared to last season. It didn't happen. This is why we're here. So people are saying, well, why aren't they both going? One person locked himself in his office when Rodgers went down. Lazard quit on the team. Remember that? When Rodgers was down, Lazard quit on the team. Rodgers is back. Lazard is all, in the offense, in the mix, right? All that stuff's going on. Was Lazard held accountable for quitting on the team last season because Rodgers was down? No. So now you have a head coach who doesn't hold the offensive coordinator responsible. No accountability. Lazard, who drops passes at a 23% rate this season. And I think it was 17% last season. And he did drop a lot of passes in Green Bay. Quit on the team. Wasn't held accountable. You know who was held accountable from day one when he got there? Becton was held accountable. Remember that? Remember how, he's overweight, and MLF, all that. They held him accountable like a mug. Remember all the stuff they did last year? Playing with the third team, not playing with the second team, not getting reps at left tackle until they had to give him reps. He was held accountable like a mug. But when you say, I don't think Saleh liked him personally, people are like, how do you believe that? Because one person in particular was held accountable a lot. Even though come over back-to-back injuries, held accountable, way more accountable than anybody else. But the guys who literally quit on the team weren't held accountable. Why do you think Quincy Williams said what he said after the game last week? Why do you think Aaron Rodgers is talking about, I'm not changing the cadence. Other people have to be held accountable. Why do you think accountability was the subject of conversation? Because they all knew, hey, there's somebody here who's an offensive coordinator who isn't doing his job, who isn't coaching up the team properly, and he's still here. What? Listen, the writing's been on the wall. So when you're asking me, you're saying to me, well, why not both? Bro, it's one or the other, and the one that should have gone is still here. And the reason why the one that should have gone is still here, because the one that is now not here did not hold people accountable. The only person, let's name the people that were held accountable. Elijah Moore was held accountable because he cursed out MLF. And he said whatever he said to him was a lot of negative things. Mims was held accountable, I guess, for whatever. And Becton were held accountable. These are the guys that we know were held accountable, who weren't either vocally, these are players now, vocally expressing their displeasure with how things are going on the team. There were people who were held accountable for being vocal. Now, remember, the whole thing about the culture was the shh, mum's the word, silence, right? Because Saleh is going to protect the team and going to keep things in-house. When people were mad about the Diana Rossini article and the Zach Rosenblatt stuff, and every other day something came out that confirmed what they were saying was true, that Saleh was trying to take cell phones, that Saleh was trying to be something he wasn't, and it's possible he was rubbing players the wrong way, and there was a lot of dissension among the ranks and all that. Saleh's gone for a lot of reasons. But this is my opinion personally. It's my opinion that he's gone because of all of the stuff he didn't do, which was hold the right people accountable, which was discipline the right people, which was talk down, but I remember MLF had said something about Garrett Wilson about like the bright lights being too much for him. And I was like, why would you say that about your rookie wide receiver? And I remember Ulbrich saying that Quentin was gassed. Like there was lots of times where the coaches were saying stuff at the podium, like, why are you saying this publicly about your players? It doesn't sound right. Like, and the tweets would come firing after, right? Like you say something about Q and Q would tweet something and delete it. And then Garrett Wilson was saying stuff, and you know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff that was going on. It felt like the coaches didn't understand how to be diplomatic about their approach, even though that's what they wanted to do. But it felt like they didn't understand how to do it. And leading this foray is your figurehead, like I said earlier. Your leader, the captain of the ship, is Saleh. And Saleh is responsible for not only the 53 men on the roster, but the 21 coaches, 21 semi-coaches you have as well. You're responsible for the offensive line coaches, the Keith Carters, you're responsible for the Downings, you're responsible for all the coaches. So the dissension is easy to pick up if somebody's not really feeling what's going on. The Lowest Treetop says, I think teams should invest in a coach and a coach's growth the way they do with players. Pat Riley talked about how the Heat are invested with Spoelstra when they were talking about LeBron not liking him, and that is a fact. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said I'm leaving it up. The lowest trees have tops. I'm glad you said that because when I've discussed the whole thing with Spoelstra, when Spoelstra was supposed to be the coach, Pat Riley was like, "No, he's the coach. I don't give a you know what about what LeBron has to say. Spoelstra is the coach. We're going to build around the coach." Woody Johnson, and this is the thing with football. And before I go on Woody, this is the thing about football. You don't have that culture because it feels like that relationship between GM and coach and owner is easily fractured, right? A GM comes like a coach, but that GM liking the coach costs him his job. He has to fire the coach. Unfortunately, we've seen coaches hire and fire friends. Let's look at the Jets situation. Adam Gase was given the responsibility to hire the GM. He hired his friend Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas hired Saleh. Saleh brought in his people. MLF is his friend. He gets rid of MLF. They get Rodgers. Rodgers and Hackett are friends. So the thing about the investing in the growth in the dynamic, the nepotism in the NFL is so toxic to the point where people are hiring their besties, and then the owner has, depending on the owner, has these hard decisions to make on how we're going to invest in that coach. Because normally it's the GM, the coach. Hey, the coach hires the GM. The GM is running the team the way the GM is running the team the way the owner wants, and the coach is trying to navigate what he wants under two different orders. So you're navigating under the GM and the owner. So there's a lot of conversation that Woody is the reason why certain things haven't happened, like Reddick being signed and stuff like that with the money. And he's not trying to spend a lot of money this year, and the reason why the offseason went the way it went with a lot of the Temu bargain free agencies because of Woody not wanting to spend. But on the flip side, people are saying Woody does spend and he has been spent before. So that's why I believe, to your comment, the lowest trees, it's hard to invest in a coach unless the owner and the GM are on the same page of the type of coach they want to hire. And you could look no further than Carolina, because with the Carolina situation, the owner is very much involved, and he wanted Bryce Young, and it seems like that's backfiring. And now with the head coach getting Dalton, a veteran, you're seeing more of the offense. Now Bryce Young's for sale, right? So the owner's involvement in that situation, like it's just one of those things, man. It's too much of a dynamic going on with that, into where like with NBA. There's some owners who are just owners and GMs and stuff like that, like Pat Riley's situation. And he's also a basketball executive. Like Woody Johnson's not a football mind. Woody Johnson is Johnson & Johnson. He's baby oil and powder and stuff like that. Like that's Woody Johnson. He wants to be an ambassador to the UK. He wants to be under Trump. That's his bestie. Like he has a lot going on that has nothing to do with football. I don't look at Woody Johnson as an owner, as a football mind. I don't think he's not knowledgeable of football. He's very knowledgeable of football. I've met Woody Johnson. He's very knowledgeable of football, but he's not a football mind. He doesn't come from a football family. Football is a family business. We know this. Football is a family business. So normally an owner comes from a family that knows football, played football or something. There's no football ties to the Johnsons. The Jets were up for bid, and it was between him and Dolan. He outbid Dolan, and the rest is history. But yeah, like it's just the long and short of the situation with the Jets. And I'm going to go to this next part real quick about the fracturing of the locker room. The resounding sentiment I've heard from Jets players post Robert Saleh firing, how does this fix the offense? This is coming from Connor Hughes, that the players have said after being fired, how does this fix the offense? Now, at first, I was like, no players told Connor this. Like, no players said that to Connor. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they even give the information up? But then Zach Blatt drops an article and says before, I didn't get a chance to read this in The Athletic. Jets players and coaches in recent days have felt like the vibe was off, quote unquote, and there was a lot of frustration internally about a lack of accountability and the continued issues on offense, according to sources. Players and coaches have had concerns about Nathaniel Hackett dating back to last season, per sources. Some insight into everything that's going down in light of Robert Saleh's firing. Now, once again, like I've said, the person who should be gone is Hackett. The quotes about accountability go to the head coach, the figurehead, the face of the team. Guess what? Who gets fired? The person not holding people accountable. Why don't both get fired? Because one person just slumped. We've all worked with someone. We've all worked with someone who should not have their job. Right? We've worked with someone who should be fired. We all have worked with someone who should be fired. And you complain and you talk like, why is this person not fired? Because that person does the bare minimum. No pun intended. So shout out to Bare Minimum Content Creator Network. No pun intended. But that person should be fired. But they skate by because they do just enough to fly under the radar. Maybe they come in on time. Maybe they're friends with the boss, Rodgers. Wink, wink. We don't know. But whatever they do, it's not enough. It's not egregious enough to get fired. Now, if you ever worked in retail like I have, you'll have a store owner, or let's say the store, the manager of the store, general manager of the region. If that store doesn't perform well, the manager is fired. But if it's up to the manager to bring the people in to make things work, the assistants, the workers to make things work. So if Saleh is the manager of the store and Hackett is his assistant manager and a general manager is Woody Johnson and it's not performing well, the person that's going to get fired is Robert Saleh. You get me? Like, or if you want to break it down and say Woody's the regional manager, Joe Douglas is the assistant to the regional manager, and Saleh is the like however you want to break it down. The first person to go is usually the person closest to the situation. The reason why the general manager isn't normally the first person to go because he has a resume, and Joe Douglas has a decent resume, of at least acquisitions, draft picks, and stuff like that. Bring Aaron Rodgers probably saved him another year or so. The injury probably saved him another year in addition. But Saleh doesn't have that luxury. This is a results-based business. You're 20-36 as a head coach. You're 20-36. My Lord, you haven't won anything. This is a results-based business. There's no results worthy for keeping you. Now, should this have happened later on? Is now the question. Should this have happened later on? I definitely agree that Robert Saleh was given a bad rap. But let me read the statement from Woody Johnson for those who haven't heard it yet. This morning, I informed Robert Saleh that will no longer serve as head coach of the Jets. I thank for his hard work these past 3.5 years and wish him and his family moving forward. This is not an easy decision, but we are not where we should be given our expectations, and I believe now is the best time for us to move in a different direction. This is coming from the owner. Like I said, it's rare that an owner fires a coach. So mind you, the owner said this. Woody is firing him. Jeff Ulbrich will serve as our interim head coach for the remainder of the season. He's a tough coach who has the respect of the coaches and the players of the team. We're gonna dive into that real quick. Jeff Ulbrich, we were wondering this offseason, is he going to leave? He's going to get a chance to get a new job and coach elsewhere. And it felt like it was inevitable, right? It was going to happen. But all of a sudden, it's like no, Jeff is going to be here. You know what I mean? He's going to be with us. Kind of felt like he was holding him. And I'm thinking now, is it possible the Jets intentionally kind of limited his reach to go coach anywhere? Or did other teams inquire and they were like, we're not letting him go that easy in case Saleh didn't have the start he was supposed to have. I don't know. That was just me speculating. I'm not too sure. But the thing that he said, tough coach who has a respect of the coaches and plays on his team. I believe he, along with the coach on the staff, can get the most out of our talented team and attain the goals we established this offseason. Woody is saying it right there. I don't believe that Saleh, with what we have, is doing a good job. And the next man up isn't Hackett, but Ulbrich, who is a very attractive free agent as far as coach is concerned, to lead this team. And that, to me, especially coming from him, stood out the most. That he wasn't happy, and he wanted him, vamos, out of here. And he feels like, yeah, Saleh's going to get, Ober's going to get the job done that Saleh couldn't do. Let's go to the comments real quick. Haskell, just only Woody Johnson will speak to reporters shortly on the conference call via Antoine Staley. The conference call has began. And this is some of the quotes from the conference call. Offense has been a challenge, more than a challenge. Woody Johnson, when asked to assess the job Nathaniel Hackett has done so far. Goes on to say Woody Johnson just said the Jets are going to make changes on offense. Wasn't specific to what changes, though. Hope Nathaniel Hackett and Keith Carter are top of his list. Now, again, the players said, rumor from Hughes and Hackett, sources say, how does this change the offense? We weren't happy with the offense. Accountability is not being held offensive side of the football. Woody Johnson says the Jets are going to make changes on offense. What changes will that be? We don't know. Woody Johnson just said the Jets are going to make changes on offense. Wasn't specific what changes, though. Y'all got that already. They said the changes wherever necessary to give the best chance to win. Again, I don't know what changes you can make on offense. Does that mean bringing in Devontae Adams? Is that a change on offense? Does that mean maybe playing Malachi Corley more? Does that mean Braylon Allen gets the ball more over Breece Hall? I don't know, but it feels like people are going to be finally held accountable, maybe, on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see. Woody Johnson also had comments on Reddick, who remains a holdout. Hassan, get in your car, drive down 95 and come to New York, and we can meet you and give you an escort right into the building. I don't know. Okay, he goes to follow and say, you'll fit right in, love it here, feel welcome, and accomplish great things for us. All right, so Woody wants him back. Clearly, Woody wants him back, but it's so much going on, man. It's so much going on. Trust me, stuff been going on since the news been going on. I didn't jump on right away because everyone was going to have their take on what's going on. Everyone had their commentary. I had to soak it all up. I had to listen to Connor. I had to listen to Acho. I had to listen to Damian Woody, Stephen A. Smith. I was listening to everybody's commentary about this firing, and I couldn't just jump on. Even in the Discord, we were arguing in the Discord. Shout out to my patrons. But yeah, bro, it's so much going on. It's so much to take in. Let's move on. Hold on. I'm skipping something. Hold on. He asked how this will fix the offense. We need to find ways to win. We're not going to find those ways doing the same thing over and over and over. Johnson believes that Ulbrich will add a spark of positivity. Those changes we have to make on offense, we're going to make on offense. Wow. So Johnson is saying, I don't want to say he's saying the right things. He's saying things. I'm not saying he's saying the wrong things, but he's saying things. How the move fix the offense? We need to find ways to win. We're not going to find those ways doing the same thing over and over and over. No shit. No shit. You know who needs to go, though, for that stuff to change? Nathaniel Hackett. But is this change now? And now I'm asking everybody now this question. Was Saleh too sentimental to pull the trigger, for real, and tell Hackett to sit down or refuse to do it or whatever? I don't know. But it feels like, whatever the case may be, they have more faith in Ulbrich to come in and right the ship and do the things that Saleh would not do. And again, if you've been here this whole time, the 54 minutes we've been on live, if you've been here this whole time, you've heard what I just said. Woody Johnson literally comes in and confirms everything I'm saying. Saleh did not feel like the type of coach to hold his players and other coaches accountable for their actions, for their misdeeds, for their mistakes, to make this thing work. He wasn't the right person to right the ship. And his original statement about Ulbrich, he's a tough coach who has the respect of the coaches and plays on his team. I believe, along with the coaches on the staff, he can get the most of our talented team and attain the goals we established offseason. Followed by this comment of, we need to find ways to win. We're not going to find those doing the same thing over and over. And Ulbrich will add a spark of positivity. Those changes we have to make on offense, we're going to make on offense. So was Saleh too afraid to tell Hackett, yo, sit your ass down? You need to do what you're supposed to do. Or is this just a figurehead, hey, man, we just need to change it up? The Jets play for the division. Well, not play for the division because it's not playing for the division, but a share of the lead of first place. If they beat Buffalo Monday night, a lot of people feel like it'll beat Buffalo Monday night because Buffalo's kind of spiraling. The Jets have a really good defense. I believe, and Josh Allen, he suffered a concussion in that game as well. So we don't even know the health of Josh Allen at this time right now. So yeah, man, it's a lot going on at MetLife Stadium. And I was locked in the debate of Devontae Adams coming to the team. And we were like maybe like an hour into this debate about Devontae Adams coming to the team, and then boom, 10:08, Dan hits us with, "Yo, Robert Saleh got fired." Adam Schefter drops a bomb on us, and it's just like, dog, like this is too much. This is way too much for my liking. And we're now going into what we're about to be 3 p.m. and today. Yesterday, Kay Adams said that Devontae Adams was supposed to come on the show today and make an announcement, but that's been pushed back to tomorrow. And then today, Aaron Rodgers was going to go on Pat McAfee to talk, and now he's been pushed to tomorrow. So we don't even know what's coming up. Is Devontae Adams going to get traded today? Is the trade to the Jets going to happen still? If it's happening, like how does that trade happen after firing a head coach? The Jets have done a lot of unprecedented things this entirety of this offseason. In my years of being a Jets fan, the Jets have done a lot of unprecedented things. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how this all works out. If we do get Devontae Adams make this move, will this move trump the firing? Will it be bigger than the firing, right? Does Devontae Adams being a New York Jet, does that change things for the offense? Is that a move that fixes the offense in comparison to firing somebody? I don't know if the trade even happens. Like it needs to happen. I don't know if it happens, and I don't think I think it would have happened by now, unless it happens later in the midnight hour. But is this the only move that we're about to see in the next few weeks? I don't know. But so far, this is the biggest move of the day. It is dominating sports media right now that the New York Jets have fired their head coach, Robert Saleh. He's been here for 3.5 years. It didn't work out, 20-36. Offense wasn't moving the needle. He did, defense did well under the coaching of Ulbrich, and Ulbrich is Robert Saleh hire. So that is a positive. And again, like I said, Robert Saleh, if you want to just sum up who he is, I think he was well-intentioned. I think Saleh wanted the best for this team. I think he wanted to shield his players from a lot of the media. I think he just did a bad job of everything else. And the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And he all gas, no brakes his ass straight to hell. Unfortunately, he just kept being a well-intentioned individual who didn't mean any harm, who wanted the best from players, who believed in players, in their families and etc. But intentions aren't enough. This is at the end of the day, NFL football is a sport, is a business. And your business has to be winning. And the Jets for 13 years, going on 14, have not been in the business of winning. It's been a long time since the Jets have been in the winning business. And if you want to count 2015 as a winning season because they had an over 500 record, sure, but they didn't make the playoffs. So that's not winning either. But this is the business of winning, and the Jets weren't winning. And it's a result-based business. It's a week-to-week league. It's a month-to-month league, a year-to-year league, whatever you want to call it. The Jets have lost 2 games by a score in 2 weeks against teams, not teams they should have beat. Denver, yes. Minnesota, I'm not going to say they're a team they should have beat, but that was a game they should have won. The Jets lost 2 winnable games. And what stuck out to me the most, you employ Aaron Rodgers so that if you're down 10-9 with 1:04 left, and you're at I believe they were at their 36, that you get down the field and you make a field goal. Right? You don't do it. 50-yarder was not the field goal, not in the rain. And because Denver had just previously missed a shorter field goal. 50-yard field goal wasn't a play. Kicking that field goal with 40-something seconds left, that doesn't sound like a winning formula. That just sounds like what the hell happened? And if you look at the sequence of plays, pass left, pass right, deep incompletion, 50-yard field goal. That was the sequence. It was pass to the left, pass to the right, deep throw. That's what it was. They were cha-cha sliding the offense. Everything was They couldn't get nothing downfield, and they couldn't run the ball. Go against Denver. Aaron Rodgers looked bad against Denver. He looked bad against Denver. Your defense did what they had to do. They kept him in the game, and you have the opportunity to go on a winning drive. You throw a terrible pass. And of all people to get that interception, of all people, the former Patriot cornerback. Like Stephon Gilmore, by the way. Like, of all people to get the games, like, come on, bro. Of all people to get the game to the interception. I did not think, however, in that sequence, that Saleh gets fired. In that entire sequence, I do not think Saleh gets fired in that sequence. I think the Jets come out. They're still playing for first place. We're going to continue the season. Time goes by. You don't hear any rumblings. Today was a surprise. It was a surprise firing. You hear about, Saleh coming into the building, not being aware, security staff escorting him out. Like, that's poor in taste. I don't think Saleh deserved that much. And I don't essentially feel like he deserved to be fired either. I understand why he was fired. I don't think he deserved to be fired. And I think if Saleh can do it again, he would have manned up and did a little bit more. But in my heart of heart, I think Saleh is a genuine person. He means well. It's well intended. And that was the cause of his downfall. People say he will bounce back and coach again. Of course, he'll be a defensive coordinator somewhere. San Francisco might welcome back open arms. A lot of teams that need Eagles. The Eagles definitely may kick those tires down the line if their stuff falls off. There's a lot of teams who can definitely assist. But outside of that, I don't see how that works out. I don't see how that works out. Hold on. Breaking. This is from SNY. 2 offensive players Listen to why touch base with believe themselves to be at a disadvantage as a result of the Jets' offensive staff. A third to listen why he can't recall seeing a coach with less confidence than Hackett. This is from Connor Hughes. Hackett doesn't take charge. The player said half the time he tries to put it on Aaron, and Aaron gets frustrated. Come on, Jets, get rid of this guy already. And that's via Glazer, who yeah. Not really a fan of Glazer, but still, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Hazel. But yeah, Saleh, you jumped in front of a bullet that wasn't meant for you. You jumped in front of a bullet that was not meant for you. That bullet was meant for Hackett. And all you had to do was hold that man accountable. And you did. And it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate, man. The person that deserved to be out on their ass, or at least not holding the clipboard, or holding an ashtray, was Nathaniel Hackett. If he learns from it, and these are the lessons, I can't tell Saleh what lessons to draw from this. That's a grown man who's been in that league. He's in that league. I can say this. Whatever next steps you take, if you're not going to be the disciplinarian, authority figure, however the case may be, hire somebody who will be. Who's going to be a mouthpiece, who's going to make sure, hire somebody who will be. And take their advice. Because, brother, man, it can't be that way. It can't be that way. You fell on the sword way too much. Way too much. And it's going to be a lot of finger pointing. There's going to be a lot of finger pointing. UCM says ESPN's Jimmy Fowler mentions Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, and Todd Monken as potential head coach candidates in the offseason for the Jets. We're already talking about offseason coaches. Like, there's too much going on. There's too much going on. It's crazy. It's definitely crazy. By the way, more on Woody quote Reddick. It actually started out with, when he gets here, he'll find a very welcoming locker room and he'll be able to fit right in, but he's got to be here first. All right, man. Listen, Reddick ain't pay that man. He ain't walking through that door. Pay that man. He not walking through that door. He not walking through that door. He not walking through that door. Pay that man. It's been, he should walk through the door, get his little money towards the end and leave, but he ain't walking through that door, bro. He's not walking through that door. But yo, this is my initial reaction. I know it'll be more from the guys later on, but I had to come in and speak to y'all about this. Make sure you guys are following us on social media at MIPod69. Breaking news, breaking news. Follow us on TikTok at middle_initial_pod. We have TikTok live now. I will be on TikTok live a lot, as well as coming on, YouTube and on X. But as you can see, I'm here with you guys on YouTube and on X right now because, it's just easier to navigate at this point. So we're going to learn a lot about the TikTok game. We will be having another event, October 31st. You heard it from us. October 31st, the Halloween tailgate will be upon us. If you can make it out, please pop out. Details are coming either today or later on. Today. Details coming today. I'll have the details today about the Halloween tailgate. Gonna love the theme of the Halloween tailgate as well. So make sure you pop out. You're gonna love the food. Who's bringing the food? We got a nice little package for you guys. We have a nice little package. So October 31st, 4:30 to 7:30. Meet us in Lot J13, where our special guest will be ESPN's DJ Bienemy, welcoming DJ Bienemy back from Houston because he is covering the Texans. He will be in town. He will be our special guest. If you're a fan of DJ Bienemy, you loved him when he was here, please pop out. Welcome him back with open arms. Let's have some food. Let's have some drinks. Let's talk. But you will be seeing more and hearing more from me as well as Jude, as well as Kevin. Make sure you're following Jude Truth on social media at Jude Truth. Make sure you're following Kevin Lewis at KLEW24 and listen to the podcast. Subscribe to the Underdog Fantasy Network and listen to the podcast, The Only Teams That Matter, with Kevin Lewis and Coley Mick. And make sure, of course, you're following us on social media, MRPod69. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit us with a like, hit us with that subscribe. Don't be a hater. Share the feed, share the stream. We will be back. Stay inspired by 69. Peace. We love y'all.
You are now tuned in to the Middle Initial Podcast, bitch. Now everybody pod nowadays, but it pays when you listen to Drew, Kevin, Case. And in case you missed it, get your spirits lifted. Man, New York's getting covered just to be specific. When the beast will kick it, you get back. Yeah, listen one time, I promise you come back. No, we switching up a topic, you know that we come pack. And I don't want to say it, but bitch, we want blacks. In fact, we need that. Cause ain't nobody talk like the boys. It don't matter who you like or employ. We've been the best for a minute. Big brains, could've went to MIT. But we like talking shit, here's the MIP.